So one of the things I think a lot of folks here are interested in is based off the APIs that very large models will create, what are the real business opportunities? Like what are the ways to look forward? And then how, given the APIs will be available to multiple players, how do you create distinctive businesses on it?
Yeah. I think that's about to happen. Like maybe it'll be successful, maybe Google will do it themselves, but like I would guess that with the quality of language models we'll see in the coming years, there will be like a serious challenge to Google for the first time for a search product. And I think people are real trends that like we all made fun of were just too early. Like the chatbot thing was good, it was just too early. Now it can work, and I think having like new medical services that are done through that, where you get great advice, or new education services like this, these are going to be very large companies. I think we'll co-pilot in very early ways, but I think this is going to be a massive trend, and very large businesses will get built with this as the interface, and more generally that like these very powerful models will be one of the genuine new technological platforms, which we haven't really had since mobile. Yeah. So I think there's two things happening now and then a bigger third one later. One is there are these science dedicated products, whatever, like AlphaFold, and those are adding huge amounts of value, and you're going to see in this like way more and way more. I like that views this as a threat. The way that I think the self-improving systems help us is not necessarily by the nature of self-improving, but like we have some ideas about how to solve the alignment problem at small scale. And we've been able to align OpenAI's biggest models better than we thought we would at this point, so that's good. We have some ideas about what to do next, but we cannot honestly like look anyone in the eye and say we see out 100 years how we're going to solve this problem. But once the AI is good enough that we can ask it to like, hey, can you help us do alignment research? I think that's going to be a new tool in the toolbox.
Yeah, like
unlock, and the sort of applications people will be able to build with that. That would be like a huge victory for all of us, and just like a massive step forward, and a genuine technological revolution if that were all that happened. But I think we're likely to keep making research progress into new paradigms as well. We've been like pleasantly surprised on the upside about what seems to be happening, and I think all these questions about like new knowledge generation, how do we really advance humanity? I think there will be systems.
In fusion.
Oh yeah. So one of the unfortunate things that's happened is AI has become like the mega buzzword, which is usually a really bad sign. I hope it doesn't mean like the field is about to fall apart. But historically, that's like a very bad sign for new startup creation or whatever. If everybody is like, I'm this with AI, and that's definitely happening now. So like a lot of we were talking about like there are all these people saying like I'm doing like these RL models for fusion or whatever, and as far as we can tell, they're all like much worse than what like smart physicists have figured out. I think it is just an area where people are going to say everything is now this plus AI. Many things will be true. I do think this will be like the biggest technological platform of the generation. But I think it's like we like to make predictions where we can be on the frontier, understand predictably what the scaling laws look like, or already have done the research where we can say, all right, this new thing is going to work, and make predictions out from that way. And that's sort of like how we try to run OpenAI, which is do the next thing in front of us when we have high confidence, and take 10% of the company to just totally go off and explore, which has led to huge wins. And there will be I feel bad to say this, like I doubt we'll still be using the transformers in 5 years. I hope we're not. I hope we find something way better. But the transform has obviously been remarkable. So I think it's important to always look for like, where am I going to find the next totally new paradigm? And
what do you think is going to happen vis-a-vis the application of AI to like these very important systems, like for example, financial markets. Because the very natural thing would be to say, well, let's do a high frequency quant trading system on top of this and other kinds of things. What is it? Is it just kind of be a neutral arms race? Is it what's your thought? And like it's almost like the Life 3.0
Yeah.
Omega's point of view.
And I think you have to assume that's going to touch almost everything, because these like seismic shifts that happen when like the whole cost structure of society changes, which happened many times before, like the temptation is always to underestimate those. But one of the things that is important is it's not like the thing trends all the way to zero. They just trend towards there. And so it's like someone will still be willing to spend a huge amount of money on compute and energy. They will just get like unimaginable amount intelligence and energy. They'll just get unimaginable amounts about that. And so like who's going to do that and where's it going to get the weirdest? Not because the cost comes way down, but the amount spent actually goes way up.
Yes, the intersection of the two curves.
Yeah, the thing got 100 times cheaper in the cost of energy, 100 million times cheaper in the cost of intelligence, and I was still willing to spend 1,000 times more in today's dollars. Like, what happens then?
Yep. And then last of the buzzword bingo part of the future questions, metaverse and AI. What do you see coming in this?
I think they're like both independently cool things. It's not like totally clear to me.
Yeah.
Other than like how a new container for software and a new computer interaction thing, and AI turns out to be something on the order of like a legitimate technological revolution. And so I think it's more like how the metaverse is going to fit into this like new world of AI than AI fit into the metaverse. But low confidence.
But TBD. All right. Questions?
The EA community is like, I'm not doing that because they're all going to die. The kind of like techno optimists are like, well, it's just like, I want to like merge into the AGI and go off exploring the universe, and it's going to be so wonderful, and I want total freedom. But I think like all of those I find quite depressing. I think
You may not read it that way, but yes.
Well, so in our current universe,
Yes.
our current situation, a lot of people think about family building and fertility, and like some of us have different people have different ways of approaching this. But from where you stand, what do you see as like the most promising solutions? It might not be a technological solution, but I'm curious what you think. Other than everyone having 10 kids, like how do we?
of everyone having 10 kids.
Yeah. How do you populate? How do you see family building coexisting with, AGI and high tech?
This is like a question that comes up at OpenAI a lot. Like, how do I think about, how should one think about having kids? There's, I think, no consensus answer to this. There are people who say, yeah, I'm not. I always thought I was gonna have kids, and now I'm not going to because of AGI. Like, there's just, for all the obvious reasons, and I think some less obvious ones, there's people who say like, well, it's going to be the only thing for me to do, and that will, apply to like generate an image where maybe we still do a little bit of prompt engineering, but it's kind of just going to get it to like go off and do this research for me and do this complicated thing, or just like be my therapist and help me figure out how to make my life better, or like go use my computer for me and do this thing, or any number of other things. But I think the fundamental interface will be natural language.
Let me actually push on that a little bit before we get to the next question, which is, to some degree, just like we have a wide range of human talents right now, and taking a look, for example, at DALL-E, when you have like a great visual thinker, they can get a lot more out of DALL-E because they know how to think more, they know how to iterate the loop through the test. Don't you think that will be a general truth about most of these things? So it isn't that while it'll be natural language is the way you're doing it, it will be.
Hey, thanks so much. I think the term AGI is used, thrown around a lot, and sometimes I've noticed in my own discussions, like the sources of confusion has just come from people having different definitions of AGI, and so it can kind of be the magic box where everyone just kind of projects their ideas onto it. And I just want to get a sense from you, how do you think, how would you define AGI, and how do you think you'll know when
I
we
should have defined that
we
earlier.
met it?
Obviously, the economic impacts are huge, and I think it's just, like if it is as divergent as I think it could be for like some people doing incredibly well and others not, I think society just won't tolerate it this time. And so figuring out when we're going to like disrupt so much of economic activity, and even if it's not all disrupted by 20 or 30 years from now, I think it'll be clear that it's all going to be. What is the new social contract? Like my guess is that the things that we'll have to figure out are how we think about fairly distributing wealth, access to AGI systems, which will be like kind of the commodity of the realm, and governance, like how we collectively decide what they can do, what they don't do, things like that. And I think figuring out the answer to those